step forward.
Hello. Welcome to the Then and Now podcast. We're back for another reaction video. We haven't done one of these in a long time, actually. So we're here. We have our special guest, Mr. Captain Perry, is with us still. It's only right to have him in here. So this is a little bit out of the norm because this isn't like a major Marvel title or anything that's been coming out recently, like we normally would react to. In one of our recent clips we had on YouTube Shorts, we had a Man of Goodwill is the name of the user, requested us to react to the movie trailer, The Lady of Heaven. I'm not familiar with this at all. I don't believe any of my co-hosts are familiar with this movie at all. So we will see. This will be a first watch, everybody, and we have no idea what to expect.
The world is in shock as a group of terrorists has taken control of large areas of Syria and Iraq.
The world can be a cruel and dangerous place.
It's okay.
Remember,
I'm rocking with it so far.
even if you're afraid,
It's not a casual
be
movie.
strong.
Jesus Christ.
Your loving mother,
Yo.
Fatima.
Opens with that.
Did your mother ever tell you the story of the Lady of Heaven?
She was very special.
Visuals.
Daughter
Interesting.
to the Prophet Muhammad.
My time is near. And afterwards, my lovely Fatima, you will face many trials.
With my father no longer here to lead us, evil is with those who will extinguish the light of truth.
You're gonna let a woman tell us what to
mess
do.
around this movie.
Jesus Christ.
This is not happy. This is weird.
This world has become a breeding ground of violence. Its shadow will be cast across many generations to come.
It's like a true story, I guess.
It said some people are so full of faith. They give strength to everyone around them.
The greatest thing in this life.
Yo, what the fuck?
Is
It's
a lot going
is
on.
the spreading of
There's a
peace.
lot going on.
in the world.
There's a whole lot going on. It's
Lady
coming from a
Fatima's
lot of people.
goodness inspired people to stand up
Goliath fighting David?
no matter what the cost.
Okay.
Epic beyond epic.
Her legacy
CG
lives
rocks? CG Rock. That was a lot.
Yeah,
Whoa.
so
Was that like 3 timelines that they was trying to mesh into a single cohesive story?
That was my. I'm not sure about how many, but it seemed like it definitely was modern day with obviously the cars firing bullets and things of that nature. But it seemed like also very much like biblical era or old Torah era.
I'm hoping this is gonna be something similar, and maybe not similar, but like on the same kind of vibe as Everywhere, Everything, All at Once, where it's just kind of all over the place. Because we have like it's grounded, but then they also have like space guides and
Yeah, there were space guides or angels or something in this.
Definitely felt. Oh, I'm muted. I definitely felt like what was that movie? Atlantis, The Lost Empire was influenced.
Oh, the Disney one?
yeah.
I could
Yeah,
definitely see
I also saw like with the CGI characters that they had in it.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, Atlantis.
Yeah.
But like you said, during the era, during a time where religion was influenced with a lot of men, so having a woman in there, it's definitely going to raise some eyebrows, especially in that aspect of religion. I'm not familiar with the Quran or things like that, but I know it's heavily male-based. So to have a woman influence in this, I'm going to see how it's going to be received.
I'm curious if it, because obviously they're not opposed to certain areas of the world that will just outright ban movies from playing. Just for having that title in certain areas, like Nick just said, that could get big no. We're not playing this.
This is going to get very controversial in a lot of different countries.
Yeah, it's going to be very controversial. I'm very curious to see it because I mean, it looks like it's whoever the filmmakers that are involved with this are clearly very passionate about this story they're telling. And they didn't. I mean, they those were real extras. There weren't CGI people in all those battles and stuff too. It's a lot of time and money spent on this flick.
Yeah, this is not a casual movie. This is not something that they just did on a whim. This is something like this has got to be a passion project to some degree because I mean to get as much attention that video has gotten apparently, and then just to see what it's gonna do when it actually is released. Like,
bro, this was well shot. I will say that's the first thing that stood out to me. Lighting, like when they showed the shot of Muhammad in general, like that lighting on him and that camera shot and the lumetrics, I was like, it's a amateur editor, bro. I was like, this shit is beautiful.
They know what they're doing
forever. What was the name of the movie again?
The Lady of Heaven.
Yeah. It wasn't. It's not amateur. This is not an amateur. Even if it was obviously filmed maybe in the Middle East or whatnot, it's clearly people that know what they're doing that film this.
All right, we'll check it out. We can review this one honestly. I would like the reviews to see what it's about.
I'm curious to see it now. I'm very curious to see it.
Did it have a release date on it? I didn't see a release date.
It might have. We can
wow, they can turn off the comments for the actual movie.
I'm not surprised. I mean, it's like, we know it's gonna be extremely controversial.
I mean, you know, controversy is my favorite drink. So I mean, let's go.
It is. You get the biggest glass, the nicest handle.
This Negro here. Yeah, guys, this is dope. So this is a quicker review, I guess, just because more so we don't really have a lot of dialogue to discuss on it because we're not familiar with it at all. We don't have any expectations because we're not familiar with it at all. Again, shout out to Man of Goodwill, I'm sorry, on YouTube for requesting this from us. Yeah, this is dope. So we'll review it and so you get them. Which review? I'm kind of speechless at this point. But
it was a lot going on. I mean, so see, like modern warfare combined with biblical warfare, you're going to be triggering so many different groups.
I think that's
so I have to see how this turns out. I have to.
Yeah. I think they were going for that. They were going for like we're trying to incite a conversation, but we know we have to have controversy to do that. Because you're right, that clearly seemed like it was meant to be like Goliath, and then someone pulling out a sword because David or whatnot. So
there is. I just posted a link to I believe the director of the movie talking about the movie in the comments in it. So it could be.
Damn, that was quick. So honestly, if you guys want to, we can double react to just a little bit of what he has to say about it if you want to over here, because I don't have a lot to say about the shit.
Sure.
Well, I will be going, so I gotta go feed my kids before my wife takes the car.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And recently in Fatimiyya this year, you spoke about a film. And as you mentioned, looks can be deceiving sometimes. And sometimes people judge others based on the first thing they see from that person. Sometimes they don't know what's the intention. Definitely they don't. It's difficult to know someone's intention, of course. And you spoke about this film that's supposedly coming out very soon. And some asked, why is Sayyid Ammar supporting this film made by such and such people that, you know, we know from what we've seen of them, they're not the best in our eyes representing the madhab of Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq alayhi salam. And yet Sayyid Ammar has promoted this film.
Yeah, let's separate two issues here. First issue is I cannot deny that the people behind this film carry a lot of baggage. In some cases, carry baggage which in the eyes of many is unhealthy baggage. I'm not talking about their stances necessarily against other schools in Islam. I'm talking about their stances against their own fellow members of the Shia community, where they've been openly known to attack and slander some characters in the Shia world. Therefore, because of this, and because of the fact that statements have already been made about the characters who directed this film years ago, statements about them being spies and agents and so on. You know, all of us have been accused of this, but in particular with them, and because their rhetoric is seen without a doubt in the Shia world as being the most extreme rhetoric you'll ever get. If the Shia were always associated with taqiyya, then this was anti-taqiyya. And so when a person therefore hears that there's a film coming out, The Lady of Heaven, I think was the title, and regarding Fatima Zahra alayhi salam's life, you found that some people straight away rejected the film, of course, without watching it, because of who is behind the film. And that makes perfect sense, by the way.
So yeah, this is interesting. There's some research that needs to be done on my part here, because obviously I think this is a kind of a I'm looking at it maybe as something that's akin to Passion of the Christ, where it's going to be like a reenactment of something of religious practices. So this for sure is going to be something that's going to need to be handled very carefully. Bro, I felt the weight. Like, you can tell as the dude was speaking on it, he was making very sure he was picking his words very choicely, so he did not incite some shit.
He was like, "Don't come to my house, please."
Yeah. It's going to be interesting.
But I feel like those kinds of movies and those kinds of shows that have, like Otis said, he's a fan of controversial thing. I'm kind of a fan of controversial content also, in the sense that I like people who are filmmakers and storytellers that aren't afraid to tell, bigger stories or tell harder stories. Those things need to be said. So I'm a fan.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you get to introduce the world to a serious thing that is going on within the world that they are not aware of, I feel like that's important. You have to get the portrayal right, or else you're going to piss off a lot of people. And it's a difference between pissing off people in America versus overseas, where you piss them off wrong enough, they're knocking on your door.
That's a lot more commonplace. Yeah. And even because Deb, we were mentioning before, the way the shot they had of if it was meant to be the Prophet Muhammad, I know they couldn't even show that before in TV and film. So that shot could be enough to incite riots of a person portraying Muhammad, but
we'll see. Maybe it's a scenario where it's just banned in those countries, and I feel like this will obviously be popular in other countries. Like, I feel like it may do okay in the U.S., maybe not so much, because we already know we have that history with obviously the events of 9/11 and the wars over there. But we'll see. I'm really interested to see how this does in general.
Yeah. And my brother, y'all know my brother is Pakistani. I'm gonna ask him about if he's heard of this movie. Maybe he's seen it. See what his thoughts on it are.
All right. Maybe already out. I'll do some research to it. If it's already out, I'll find a way so we can all watch it. I'll find a link allegedly. Allegedly. Yeah, man. You guys have any other thoughts on it? All right. Well, yeah. So, guys, thank you so much for tuning into this kind of weird off-kilter episode of the Then and Now podcast. We'll see you guys next time and keep you guys updated on any information in regards to the movie.
I gotta take